here. It's 20 before 9 now at your Light FM. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. Which is always a good idea. Time to check in on your money and find out what you want to ask your tax or legal advisor with the help of Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Rollercoaster ride yesterday, Phillip, but it was 5 in a row in the green for the Standard & Poor's. That ought to feel good, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Dave. You know, we haven't had one of those. I can't remember the last time we had 5 days in a row up. The red seems to be, bonded in my head for right now.
And it wasn't like we didn't try to go red. I mean, the Dow swung across a 1,000-point range yesterday. Still ended up 114 points to the good. Standard & Poor's making it 5 in a row with a 3.5-point gain, which is not exactly earth-shaking, but it's green. NASDAQ, on the strength or weakness of NVIDIA, largely ended up down about 17 points yesterday. But on balance, I got 2 out of 3 of the major indexes, and I'm calling it a green day.
Yeah, that's right. And we can add the Russell in there as well, Dave, because it was up about 0.4. But, getting close to 2,000 again.
It's about darn time. Yeah, somebody said, one of my tip sheets said, yeah. Now the S&P is still 500 down from where it was at its peak, but still we're recovering back, and I'm kind of sort of starting to wonder whether or not pricing in the base tariffs that President Trump has been threatening and the base tariffs that we're still at because he just took the really big ones off. I'm kind of thinking that maybe we're going to be trading at about a 10% discount off of the highs based upon that base tariff, and then we're going to go up or down based upon what he does from there. It kind of looks like we like 10% down.
Yeah, that's hey, that's way better than the alternative.
Yeah, we could say that. I mentioned that NASDAQ was affected by one stock, and we had a whole pile of reports out yesterday, and we got a whole pile coming out today, but the newsmaker of the bunch was, as much as anything, NVIDIA. You and I were noodling together just exactly how far down it's down from the high, but it kind of got kicked again yesterday, down a couple of percent, because the Chinese chip maker, Huawei, they also make a lot of cell phones over there, so they're one of Apple's headaches. But Huawei announced a new artificial intelligence chip. It's nowhere near as powerful as NVIDIA's Blackwell chip, but NVIDIA can't ship junk over there right now, so Huawei's filling in the gaps, and that may very well mean down the line that it's a market that NVIDIA could be losing, maybe even for good, which is absolutely not something their shareholders wanted to hear.
No, it's not. I mean, they dropped about a little over 2% yesterday, and we looked earlier, and they're down basically 30% from their high of 150 something. So yeah, they've taken it on the chin. At least they're up. I think they were below 100 there for a little while, so at least a little bit of a bump up. But let's face it, there's still going to be a need for their product. There may be an issue with China, obviously. But that's still, you've got other companies that are going to need that chip outside of China. And so, from a business perspective, it may slow down a little bit, but for the supercomputers and AI, their chip is going to be one of the top ones that is needed.
Oh, without a doubt, they're still kingpin in the artificial intelligence industry and the video card industry. We got to keep mentioning because their high-speed video cards are still integral as much as anything to the Bitcoin side of the industry. So yeah, it's not like they're dead by any measure. But when you take one big market out and give it the possible threat of maybe that market being lost, I got to believe that the shareholders are somewhat less than happy. They're kind of turning into a poster child for the entire tariff war. But I got interesting stuff here. We haven't got all of the tariff effect in yet in the process, but want to know what the tariff threats are doing in the process. I got figures out of the Port of Los Angeles on the morning of April 20th. The Port of Los Angeles scheduled container volumes year over year on the 20th of April. They had like a 56% increase over last year at this time. By this week, now just a couple of weeks worth of difference, they're expecting 36% down at the Port of Los Angeles from last year. We kind of pushed a whole lot of stuff over the border in a hurry before the tariffs took effect, and I suspect the dock workers in Los Angeles are suddenly saying, "Kill the tariffs." Wouldn't you suspect?
I'm gonna think so, Dave. But we knew that was going to happen, right? We knew
Oh yeah.
that things were going to slow down, that there would be a front load because people wanted to get stuff in before the tariffs took effect. So it's not like we didn't know this was going to happen, but obviously it affects some employers and some employees as well, maybe they just lose some overtime, Dave.
Yeah, the big dudes that ain't getting their overtime are probably not overly pleased with those numbers. I mean, my Lord in heaven, a one-third drop from last year and changing from 56% up just 2 weeks earlier, you kind of sit up and take notice on it. It is a really, really busy week, both for earnings and as far as data dumps out of the government and affiliated agencies. A little later on today, we're going to get the JOLTS job opening report, which is a good precursor to all the labor reports that we're going to get this week. ADP gives us information on the private sector tomorrow. We're going to get the first-time jobless claims on Thursday, and that I always tend to call it the mythical but still official unemployment rate on Friday. Together with all of the reports that are out, this is one heck of a busy week.
It really is, Devin. You got the GDP thrown in there too tomorrow, so
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of stuff coming at us.
A lot of potential market movers. Today, though, we're primarily early on looking at the companies that are reporting. And boy, oh boy, I got a pile of household names. Among others, the company that used to say what's good for us is good for America. How did General Motors do? Is it good for America today?
So General Motors, and they reported before the bell today, and they beat on expectations, but did say that it's reassessing its full year guidance. They didn't make any changes yet, but they are, looking at it to see if they need to make some changes on their guidance. So they came in at about 4 cents ahead of expectations at $2.78 a share. Revenue was almost $1 billion more than expected, not quite. And so that looked good for them at this point. They are trading down right now. I think just because tariffs are an issue and, they still have some headwinds ahead of them and they didn't reconfirm their guidance. So that's giving them a little headwind as well. So they're down about 2% this morning.
Yeah, saying we're not sure is about the same thing as pulling your guidance, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. At this point, it is. At this
Other
point, it
indicators.
is. Well, let's see. Where are we at right now? So we've got this is a big one. Now, it's not earnings, but I do want to share this one because we do bring it up periodically. Him and Hers Healthcare. They're a telehealth company, but they had a big jump today, and it's mostly because of a product. Novo Nordisk plans to offer its weight loss drug through their platform as well as Roe and LifeMD. And so it's got that company bouncing up today by 33%.
Woo! That's another one of those GLP injectables, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Hottest drug on the market today. Yeah,
They call it, what
6
is
months?
it? It's called Wegovy. Wegovy. Wegovy? Oh,
Wegovy. I see the
Wegovy.
ads on
Wegovy.
cable
Okay.
TV. The
Okay.
stuff's going so fast it's going to overtake meth before long.
Gotcha. And then, well, Royal Caribbean, a big surprise as well for them. They beat by $1 a share, came in at $14.55. And so they're doing well, better than expected. Their guidance was a little better than expected. They're trading up 4% today, Dave.
Wow, we got some
Yeah,
positive movement.
there is some positive stuff going on down there. So I was looking to see what else we've got. Coca-Cola, I guess they reported at 73 cents a share. That was 2 cents ahead of expectations. Revenue was slightly above as well. They're up about 1% this morning. Um, an old uh, an old company that we hear about not as much today, but Waste Management. You used to hear about them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they first quarter revenue was a little lighter than expected this last time, and so that's got them trading down about 1.75% this morning.
Waste Management is still big. They've got the trash contract up in Polk County, so they're almost a local company for us.
Yeah. United Parcel, UPS, the shipping company. They had earnings of $1.49, which was better than the $1.38 expected. Revenue was slightly ahead of expectations, and they are up 1% this morning. So it's not a bad day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're pretty full of sunshine this morning. I like hearing that. Mentioned earlier, we had a generally up day. Blue chips up. The adventurous stocks lost a little yesterday, but on balance, it was positive. 45 minutes before the open this morning, are we going to make it 6 in a row for the blue chips this week?
Yeah, I got a hint. Well, it's a mixed bag this morning. Right now, the Dow's up 0.25%. The S&P 500 is down 0.2 right now, and the Nasdaq 100 is down 0.25%. On the other side, we've got silver up 1.25%, 33.41 an ounce. Gold is down 0.8, and then crude oil is heading the right way, Dave. It's heading down 2.1% this morning, Dave. $60.75 a barrel right now.
Woohoo! I didn't really like seeing that 63 I had yesterday morning at this time. Getting back down under 61 is good news. Looking across the various ponds, Asian rim markets were decidedly mixed. The Chinese mainland markets were off fractionally, nothing catastrophic, but that tends to drag the balance down. Most of the rest of them were up fractionally. Over in Europe, they're evidently relatively pleased. France is the only market that's got any red ink in it halfway through their day, and that's being offset by the German market that's up by over 0.5%. On balance, the European exchanges are up fractionally by about 0.2% halfway through their trading day over there. So we've got good news generally overall. Somebody want to figure out how to make that information appeal to your retirement plans and make something happen that you can actually count on when retirement comes? I need your help to do that. Phillip, how do you find you?
David, give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule their core retirement analysis. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And back here again tomorrow morning with a whole slew of information on the second half of a really busy week ahead. I'll see you then, sir.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope you have a great day and join us again tomorrow. Bye now.